Welcome. My name is Caitlin Bronner, and I'm a Master of Information and Library Science candidate at Pratt Institute in New York. Today we're going to be talking about DataCite, which can be found at datacite.org. You will, when you first enter that website, of course, land on the home page, but for clarity's sake, we're going to begin today by clicking here on the What is DataCite tab. So what is DataCite? They are a not-for-profit organization formed in London on December 1st, 2009. Their aim is to establish easier access to research data on the internet, increase acceptance of research data as legitimate citable contributions to the scholarly record, and support data archiving that will permit results to be verified and repurposed for future study. These goals are laid out more clearly in this statutes link here that you can click on for more information. On this What is DataCite section of the website, their hierarchical structure of the organization is also laid out here with some information, and also here with this chart, which is very helpful. So now we're going to go ahead and navigate back to the Home tab, the home page. You can see these tabs across the top. So we're going to start with Home. As you can see, the homepage features a blog with contributions from member institutions and the DataCite team, with such titles as 10 most popular data sets in February and press releases on new additions to the site. The blog also features multimedia such as instructional videos. Currently they're featuring one called Videos Inside the Metadata Store, which they created as a way, they say, as to sort of demystify the inner workings of the metadata store for potential clients. Here you will also find things like this digital object identifier resolver, where when you enter a DOI here, you will find hopefully a URL where you will be able, which will provide you with the location of where that article or information is located on the internet. URL is short for Uniform Resource Locator. It's important to note that there's a difference between uniform resource locators and digital object identifiers, in that uniform resource locators actually give you the location of where that resource is located on the internet, and a DOI is actually, it's sort of a specific number tailored to that specific piece of information. So not the location, but the actual information itself. The home screen also features this metadata search tab where you can enter information about information that you're looking for. So that's helpful. All right, so let's go back up here. We're going to go to the Why Cite Data section. So now we're going to talk about specific reasons researchers or organizations would want to cite their data. So DataCite believes that you should cite data in just the same way that you can cite other resources of information, such as articles or books. So here you will find specific information on how DataCite can aid users in this endeavor by enabling easy reuse and verification of data, allowing the impact of data to be tracked, and creating a scholarly structure that recognizes and rewards data producers. If you scroll down a little bit here, they also give specific examples of what data citation will look like. So we're all sort of familiar with basic bibliographic basic bibliographic citation formats. So this is what it would look like in terms of citing data sets. So the creator, publication year, title, publisher, identifier. They also give a slight variation of the citation form down here that includes a version and resource type, if you want to include that. And they also suggest including a DOI just as a way to sort of help provide further information on where that resource can be found. So let's navigate now to the What Do We Do tab. Here DataCite explains their goals as an organization in more detail and what steps they're taking to reach these goals. They explain that members of DataCite meet in person every 6 months at summer and winter conferences, and they collaborate in established working groups. Through this collaboration, they support researchers by helping them to find, identify, and cite research data sets with confidence. They support data centers by providing persistent identifiers for data sites, workflows, and standards for data publication. They support journal publishers by enabling research articles to be linked to the underlying data. There's also a section down here about assigning persistent identifiers to data sets. Here, DataCite explains their approach to developing an infrastructure that supports simple and effective methods of data citation, discovery, and access by working with data centers to assign persistent identifiers to data sets. They explain how it is their hope that in this way, citable data sets become legitimate contributions to scholarly communication, paving the way for new metrics and publication models to recognize and reward data sharing. They also explain how initially they are leveraging the digital object identifier, the DOI, as we mentioned before, and the infrastructure surrounding this concept, which is well established and already widely used for identifying research articles. They take an open approach, however, which I think is very important to note, and consider other identifier systems and services that help forward their objectives. So now we're going to go over the DataCite services, resources, and events. So at the top of the screen here I mentioned there are these tabs. So let's start with the services tab. So here DataCite gives more specific information on the services they provide. The first of which is the DataCite metadata store that we mentioned before. It's a service for data publishers to mint DOIs and register associated metadata. The service requires organizations to first register for an account with a DataCite member. Next is the DataCite metadata search, which is a service that allows people to search metadata for datasets registered with DataCite. Next is the DataCite OAI provider, which is a service that exposes DataCite metadata using the Open Archives Initiative protocol for metadata harvesting. They also provide statistics services, statistics pertaining to the DOI registrations and DOI resolutions, which are filtered by allocator, data center, or prefix. They also provide test environments for all of their products, including the DOI system, which is very important and useful when starting out with something new. Next is content negotiation. So DataCite's Content Resolver provides the negotiation services and exposes the metadata stored in the DataCite metadata store, or MDS, using multiple formats. It can also redirect to content hosted by DataCite participating data centers. Thus, it is possible to access data directly using a DOI. Next is the DOI citation formatter. This service creates different citation formats for DataCite and cross-ref DOIs. Users can choose from more than 500 different citation formats in 45 different languages. So let's go back up, and now we're going to talk about resources. So within the resources tab, you may click on this link to the advocacy page, where you're going to find flyers, posters, web banners that are all available for free download to help promote DataCite and advocate good data. These can be used in any marketing way, any kind of conference, sort of professional development way, just to spread the word and get people involved. The DataCite metadata schema is a list of core metadata properties chosen for the accurate and consistent identification of data for citation and retrieval purposes, along with recommended use instructions. The latest version of our metadata schema is available for download by clicking on the schema website link right here. If we scroll down just a little bit, the DataCite business models principles is sort of a list of their best practices. It describes some of their current best business practices and responsibilities for DataCite members and their clients. It is reviewed at least once a year. The latest version of this document is available by clicking on the download from on our website link. And last but not least, they have a list of repositories of research data, which can be found on, you can find information on the DataBib initiative, which DataCite endorses, and explore their list of repositories here. So this list is, it's important to note, a working document which they encourage participation and contribution to. So you can click on the Google Doc here and contribute to this, which is pretty cool. So if we scroll back up to the top, let's click on the Events tab. So this section is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a list of sort of conferences and events that DataCite holds. Some are open to the public and some are not. The General Assembly meetings are obviously closed and open only to members, but they do also host information sessions and seminars, conferences, what have you, that are open to the public. So it's a good place to keep an eye on. So let's take a look now at the frequently asked questions, or FAQs section. So this section is divided into 3 subsections: the background to DataCite, communicating with DataCite, and working with DataCite. The background to DataCite portion provides more information on background pertaining to DataCite, also information on specific founding members, and a link to a more detailed DOI definition. Communicating with DataCite section. Here you can find a link to a contact form where you can contact the DataCite team. You can link to an RSS news feed that you can embed on your web browser as a bookmark. Also, their Twitter handle is available. In the Working with DataCite section, there's information, questions that they're asked frequently. I'm a DataCite center looking to assign persistent identifiers to DataCites. What do I need to do next? So information for specific for data centers, organizations down here, and researchers. So that's very handy if you need information but you're not quite sure where to look. So last but not least, let's look at the members page. So this page is pretty interesting because it has this map with all the different DataCite member institutions. So that's a pretty interesting visual component of the site. Also, there is a list and links to all of the different data centers, institutions, information centers that are members of DataCite, organized alphabetically by country. So that's pretty interesting and handy to know. So I hope you've enjoyed our talk today about DataCite, and I hope it was informative and helpful. Thank you.